Hi folks, welcome again to the World Cup. So we have a game for you tonight, and we are going to be watching a game between Catalonia and Bulgaria. So the two teams that were successful in this group in the first round, two of the five teams that won their matches. And this could be a quick one, because we have the Baratheon deck here. This is a Qohor deck, playing lots of lower characters, some knights, a bit of renown with Sir Justin potentially. We have the fast Robert, and what else do we have? John Erin, new card with renown. We'll see if he survives. Lightbringer, of course, who can also give renown to Stannis, and the attachments package with Azor High Reborn to make one of the characters participate in every challenge. We have the Red Guts Blessings for the strength increase, and so on. Intimidate as well, and Disputed Claim. This is all pretty standard, and not much else in the deck, so the locations are just economy, and there's no events, not even Set Down or Deeds, which I've seen in a few versions of this deck. And we have, for the plots, Maiden, obviously hoping to go first with all the attachments. 2 copies of the Smith also make perfect sense. We have King in the North, a staple in Qohor rush decks, since you can be safe from triggers. And okay, barring return against resets, close call, this is all pretty sensible. Missing heir to the Iron Throne, I guess, so there's not much of the cheap ones. There's John, there's no Shire Errol, no cheap Shireen here to swap. 3 Alistairs, they work really nicely with there, but that's not the plot here. And Stark, this is the deck I played against in round 1, so this is the murder deck, which on that occasion didn't quite work, but here we'll see how it goes. So plays sneak attacks, and there's 2 more claim 2 plots, Famine and the Long Winter, with Marched, of course. PD not going to work against Baratheon. We have this Frozen Solids also not going to do much work, but we have the targeted kill. We have Ice, we have Put to the Sword, and we have an additional claim race with Winter is Coming. And the characters mostly focus on the military challenge. There's some stealth with Alysanne, with Arya, and we have the big direwolves, the roaming wolf packs. In this deck we have Wolves of the North as well, and we have Last Heart Scouts, which were slightly annoying for me, but are not going to matter against Baratheon. So some tricks work, some don't. We'll see how it goes, and let's join it, because players have a slightly annoying habit to start early, and yeah, this one is exactly the same, even though I am bang on time, but the players are already in round 1. So this is the setup. So we join it just in time. We have Marquina is playing this one, so I believe he played this at Stalek and made the cut, right? I think that's the same player. And we have Selisi protected with a bodyguard. We have another lore character, Reducer, and Dragonstone Port. So 2 characters that Greywind can eat even without Rob in play. And is there even Rob in the deck? No, so you're just going to eat the small ones. And we have Greywind and Reducer and an economy location, so hoping to get a good sneak attack, I guess, is the plan for Tahrun here. So what he needs is another decent body to make sure that he can win military against something like the 7 strength 10 is coming in. And then if there's gold left for Winter is Coming, or Put to the Sword, or even if Ice makes it in play, then things get tricky. Now Baratheon has some protection potentially, being able to grab bodyguards, but yeah, not if they go second. problem is if the kill doesn't get everything, and then Qohor strikes back. That's where you run into trouble because they go really, really fast. Although maybe bodyguard will need to be used here just to protect from all the claim. We have the loyalist. Now that's literally does nothing because there's no events in the Baratheon deck. And we have Arya. So stealth should be now enough to push military through against anything that comes into play. And it will be military for sure with sneak attack, so you can only do one challenge unless you manage to blank your own plot, which this deck cannot do. Okay, faction card knelt and all the gold spent, so that just means we're probably going to see 2 claim military, right? So not enough gold now to raise claim. No targeted kill. So let's say Greywind eats the infiltrator. Then 2 more characters die to military claim, but Silisi is protected with the duplicate and the bodyguard. And stuff still to come in. So I think, yeah, the Stark deck is in trouble already. Because it's not going to manage to kill everything. So sneak attack once and then you can try it again. And then you might have a chance. So we'll see what happens in round 2 if, assuming Baratheon has something in hand here and not just a bunch of useless cards. No reset in the Stark deck. So it's supposed to kill everything and then march. So it could kill something and march, but I think it will be double sneak attack. Or maybe long winter or famine to claimer anyway. See if we can get in the range of march, being able to get something impactful. So no stand, no northern armory in play. There isn't any in the deck anyway. Which is a slight problem here, because you would ideally want to protect yourself against the counterattack, and intimidate is helpful there. But I think Greywind will want to eat a character. Possibly Godry now that he's in play. Never mind that. So I'm sure Greywind is going here. If there was a way to win military on defense, then Arya with her stealth could be going. But yeah, Greywind now. And that means it's not going to be 3 characters killed, it's just going to be 2 killed or 1 killed and Silisi saved. And that achieves very, very little. Hunting accident on Arya. And that's not great. There is no renown for Baratheon, none of their big guys. And this is a 2-coster, so it can be swapped, but not for Azor Ahai Reborn. And okay, Silisi's reduction brings another one, but another 2-coster, right? Redguard's Blessing could go on Godry maybe. Goes on Melisandre. Yeah, wouldn't have been enough to defend against military anyway, even without Arya stealth. So what can be done here? So Lightbringer, there is no renown, so you can't really do much if you bring it in. And Redguard's Blessing is pretty much as good as it gets with the 2-cost attachments already. So I'm guessing Hunting Accident will just stay, and this one will too. And Bodyguard, maybe against this particular murder deck you could keep as well. That has slightly better options. There's a Milk that can be played, although now that she has the Hunting Accident, maybe not really worth milking her anymore. Strangler. Also, nothing big enough here, and Gravin can take attachments. That's a 2-coster, by the way. Nothing for Seas to do. So Disputed Claim is the one I'm looking at. If you had the character that was participating in more than one challenge, then Disputed Claim to get renown on Silisi, for instance, who is protected, or on Melisandre, who is the biggest one. Just going with the one character, keeping Arya maybe just standing here. Now, are there any tricks? I don't think so. There's no tricks. So whatever is on the board is what Baratheon has. Deck is playing very fairly with no ambush, no shadows, no events. So there won't be any surprises. And since there isn't any reset, okay, so increasing his strength just to draw another card. I guess he doesn't have Intimidate. What was I going to say? Yeah, no Morgulis, so you could take dupes. But then, if there's targeted kill, well, Stannis and Robert would prefer to stay alive, I'm sure. Not sure if Silisi is that impactful. Well, let's see what happens. So I'm looking at the Baratheon plot deck. Smiths have nothing to kneel, but they have good gold, so they might be played just for that. Reducer taken, interesting. But there is one plot that does work really nicely, and that's King in the North. So that could stop triggers, and currently there is Greywind, which is not a lot. So let's see if Marquina saves that for a better time or not. Now, Intrigue and Power should go through. And the question is, what will happen to the attachments? Is it worth sacking the bodyguard to get Disputed Claim? No reset in the Bara deck either, by the way. Quite brave. I think the one that I like in Qohor is Mad King's Command. It allows you to go first, usually with some Intimidate, and then your 3 characters, if it's Robert and Stannis, or one of those 2 at least, it's they can usually dominate the board. So no Qohor trigger on the first one. You could see it here if Marquina prefers to put it on Melisandre. She is stronger, but she is unprotected. Warhammer on Godry. Okay. Now that means he wins military against the Loyalist, right? If Arya prefers to stay standing this round. It's not the... Well, okay. So now I'm sure the hunting accident will stay, so no Qohor trigger for that. Not the biggest round here for Baratheon, but we knew that going in, right? Because Robert and Stannis are not here. Once you get one of those and you get your Lightbringer and Zora High Reborn and stuff like that, then the deck is super fast. But with these three, not so much. And yeah, not surprised to see Frozen Solid gone. So can it do anything? It can't even theoretically do anything, right? Yeah, so not trying with the other sneak attack, just going for March now, because there are only 3. That makes perfect sense. Godry, who grows bigger over the course of the game, now gone. And an attachment with Terminal also gone. So maybe, yeah, taking the dupe or the bodyguard, well, the dupe, because you need attachments, was the thing to do to keep one of the small ones in play. It would be better against March. And now, if there's a claim raise and a Gravewind trigger, now some damage could be done potentially, right? Although milk for Melisandre is the thing that is needed, but there isn't any milk in the deck, so I'm sure she will need something, and she needs Gravewind. That limits the damage quite a bit. Okay, no resets, as I said, so this is a decent board now, and still able to control the initiative, so there is one more big one, one more sneak attack, and then I think, yeah, much more a fair fight for the initiative, and Baratheon did start with the Maiden, so I think that's where my first round game against this Stark Fealty deck started to turn around as well, when I could control initiative. So let's see what Baratheon has. This time the faction card is standing, so if there is a winter is coming, it could still do some damage, but no targeted kill, so I think Melisandre is alright, right? Well, that's alright if they all survive, but if it's 2-claim military, that's not so good, because then Melisandre is going, and she does just about with the Red God's blessing, or I should say with Azor High Reborn, take out Greywind. So, yeah, here we go. She might get killed, and then even if Marquina leaves challenges unopposed, he can do challenge back with Sleazy. Robert participates, but if Melisandre has to die, then Red God's Blessing back in hand, and you can't swap for Lightbringer. So it's not that bulletproof this now. There needed to be Dragonstone Faithful or something in play. This will be unopposed. And here comes the winter is coming, right? Yeah. Now March is gone, so no second March to the wall, which means Silisi and Robert are fine for next round, but we could see another sneak attack. By the way, I don't think I told you the score, right? So this is game 5, I believe, and Catalonia has 3 wins, Bulgaria has 1, so this is an important one here for Bulgaria. Close call is available. Gives you an extra card as well. So maybe take Melisandre out, then hope to draw some little ones to absorb claim next round. Either that or win initiative. So if Robert could go with the Zorahai Reborn and Warhammer for 2 challenges and need some of the board out, but against sneak attack, that's not happening. Yeah, this one I think will be let go as well. There's no penalty for losing by 5 that I can see. And now what? So Warhammer is not intimidating anything. So I think it might get swapped for the other bodyguard, just to make sure nothing happens to Robert. And the swap doesn't really work, so he's participating in this one, but if you put Lightbringer on, then he's not participating at the point of keywords, so you can do the switch on this challenge. Have to do it on the challenge that he does. But you are losing your Zorahai Reborn then, so we'll see. So double renown here would be 5. Then he does military, unopposed is 6, renown, and renown is 8. Then you swap for Lightbringer. He stands. He does unopposed power, that would be 10, and renown 11. And then you swap. You swap for a bodyguard, I was going to say, yeah, but swaps here, so that's all fine. Now, do we see that sequence here or not? Could also just keep this one. Yeah, going all in. Okay. So let's see if I calculated correctly. So should be unopposed military with round. That should be 11. And if there was another bodyguard, I bet Marquina, I think he's called Víctor, right? I think he would go for it. But I think he keeps the Lightbringer now. Red God's Blessing increases his strength a little bit, but it's not going to be enough to defend against the military on sneak attack now. So you could go for close call. There should be decent gold and some chance to draw smaller characters. However, you then risk some targeted kill now. There's 2 cards in hand, but we could also see ice and put the sword. And I say you risk it if you play close call. Well, you risk it either way, unless you do the king plot. Then ice can be triggered, but doesn't seem like bodyguard obviously also can be triggered. Doesn't seem like the thing to do. So sneak attack or long winter or famine, but famine loses initiative, so I'm guessing sneak attack for sure. And then we'll see the other smith. Okay, going for all the gold, so not bothered about the extra card, which means there must be something already, or I didn't want to play it against the winter plot. But I think sneak attack was always going to be the choice. And I think the game is going to be decided in the next few minutes. So either Tahron clears the board here, which means he needs to get past the bodyguard as well. This time he does have Intimidate, so if he nails him and there's nothing else, that could do a decent job as well. Or he doesn't make it, and then Marquina here from 11 power closes the game if Robert is allowed to do more challenges. What's this now? Alright, number of direwolves is 3. Can't quite eat Robert, but could eat Celici. And here is the ice, so that means targeted kill on Robert forces the bodyguard to save, and then if there's not enough claim soak, 2 more characters to be killed. Greywind can int any chuds that come here. No winter is coming at least, so there's that. You know, with Greywind Northern Armor, it wouldn't be so bad. Could stand him to eat more, but this deck doesn't play them. No sweet sleep in the deck, by the way, to stop ice. Okay, so this guy dies for Greywind, or does he? Gets more strength. Okay, so would need to be bypassed first and then killed. Still not enough, needs another one. Okay, and now we are close to being safe. And if one more comes in, I think that's enough for Marquina, but no. Okay, so 2 for sneak attack, 1 for ice, and 1 for Greywind. That's 4 characters killed, but there is a bodyguard. That leaves Robert standing. The thing is, if Greywind kills, then he doesn't intimidate. So Robert by himself has 5 strength when the number of 6, I guess, when all the others are killed. And yeah, he's going to do power, right? Because this also needs to be in the challenge for the ice trigger. So he's still going to win the power challenge if he's not intimidated. So is there another intimidate? I don't think so. So we might also see a different strategy. Not killing the other Chad and intimidating with Greywind instead. But then we don't have Azor High Reborn anymore, so yeah, if you leave your whatever acolyte standing doesn't really put Robert in the challenge, so all you need to do is check the Qohor options to see if something can still get you. Just checking what the strength is here. Yeah. Until the end of the phase. Okay. So you could just target one of them and it will be 0 strength anyway, right? So can do a challenge back. So I think this is the play for Tahron here, to put Greywind in the challenge, intimidate Robert, get to claim an ice. At worst you get a challenge back without Renown and without Robert. And I don't see a way to trade for an attachment that would get Robert involved if he's intimidated. Yeah, okay, that works. He's going to go down to 0 when the other dies, because his attachment will no longer contribute as much. So actually with what's happened here, king in the north, I think there is 1 gold remaining and the location was used, so basically 6 gold was used and king in the north has 5. So I think to stop ice, that could have won the game, not sure. So 2 characters have to be killed and there is a bodyguard still. So if you use the bodyguard and kill the infiltrator, that leaves the acolyte standing. Now Robert is intimidated and the acolyte can do intrigue for sure. Can he do power for sure? For the north doesn't work on military and I don't see any tricks, so it can do power and it should do power at this point. Or should it? Maybe it should do intrigue, because there's no heads on spikes or anything like that. So if you're on 12 and you get the challenge through, you win anyway. So it doesn't matter, and might be better just to get rid of another card. So now I think we can just look at the plot deck. So we have now the Maiden on this side, and the highest remaining initiative would be only 3. So with the Maiden, even King in the North is enough. To win initiative, and then you should have the power challenge, right? And he can be triggered because he is a king. Okay, 13 for the power, and then Renown and his trigger. Now if the Long Winter is played, he needs 1 more, I guess. But there is still intrigue, which is at the moment unopposed. Well, this game might end 15-2 basically in 20 minutes remaining, but it went by pretty quickly. But it was very close, so it was one kill effect away from being able to get him. That's how it goes with this deck, I guess. Either gets them or it doesn't. Now when it took all the bodyguards off, then a reset could have helped, but it's not in the deck. And I think this is where Mad King's command would be the obvious choice if you had it. It wins initiative and then, yeah, three characters are remaining and they're not going to successfully defend against him. Personally, I would have tried no triggers. Summer would have kept him on 12, but doesn't win initiative. Close call. Well, he gets the trigger, so he's going to get the Lightbringer. But Robert is probably not going to win military, so he needs to win power, which should be alright. And then, if there's no intrigue icon, Acolyte will push it through with the unopposed. But if there is an icon, this game is not quite won yet. In fact, then it would be lost because it's to claim military back. So let's see. That's not good. It's not enough to win military against the Stark board. What are the Qohor options? Well, Strangler to put on whatever intrigue icon comes into play. But there isn't any, so yeah. I think that's enough. That's enough for Víctor here. And the game should be over. Could have gone a little smoother without all the stress if he'd only had some more claim soak 2 rounds ago. Or maybe an extra duplicate to keep Melisandre or Cilicia alive. And how many of these Red God's Blessings do we have still? I think there is another one. You could potentially swap Lightbringer because he now has disputed the claim anyway to put it on the Acolyte. Make sure she pushes the intrigue through, but no, with open deck lists you can see that there's nothing, so nothing to worry about. And that's 15. Okay, 15-1 in the end, but it was quite close. Good effort from the Stark deck to kill everything. That first round, where nothing much was achieved, was not quite enough. Another character needed to die there. Another winter is coming or something. And then, yeah, maybe Baratheon would run out of characters to survive. That was an interesting game. So let's see if I remembered correctly. about the current score. Slightly difficult to read, but I think I am right, yeah. So this is the one that Bulgaria won, and these are the 3 that they lost, and now this one they lose as well. So that's 4 wins, which means Catalonia has a guaranteed draw, but 3 more games to be played, and Bulgaria needs to win them all to force the draw. Otherwise it's Catalonia that will win their second match in this tournament. Alright, I believe that's it. That's all we had for you tonight. So thanks for joining me, and see you next time. Bye bye.